Welcome to There She Is, the podcast by Women's Sport and Recreation Tasmania. This is a space for celebrating women in sport, the athletes, coaches, administrators, volunteers, and leaders who shape our sporting communities. We talk pathways, visibility, lived experience, and what works for women in sport right here in Tasmania and beyond, because representation matters and every story deserves to be seen.
Afternoon, everyone. It's Philippa here from Women's Sport and Rec Tasmania, and I'm so excited to have Corina McCarthy with us today, who's one of our superstar instructors and facilitators of the GAP program, the Get Active program. But she has done so much more than that. She works in health promotion, and so we're going to share a bit of her story, a bit more about GAP today, and all the amazing work that she's doing in the community. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for asking me.
Now, tell us a little bit about your background. You obviously work in health promotion. What have you been involved in over the recent years?
Okay, so I joined the health service in 2003 and I started as an admin and worked my way up. And I worked in a community health centre down at Rugby where the staff, especially the nursing staff, were really into health promotion and very proactive. So I became really involved in there. And then from there, I did some admin work for the health promotion team. And then I was lucky enough to get a job in the health promotion space. So I worked there for a while and then I ended up also getting a part-time, half of my hours was in rural primary health in the whole of the Southern Midlands. So I worked there for many, many years running all the health and wellbeing programs there, and that's where I came across GAP the first time that we sort of probably came across it there. So enjoyed running that through a lot of the rural communities because it's such a fantastic program.
Absolutely. Now, tell us a little bit more about the variety of programs you've been involved in.
Okay, so as a health promotion worker, I work in the health literacy space. I work with organisations, but also staff to look at how we can make resources and promotional materials more health literate. And I'm also a master trainer, one of only two in Australia. My colleague in the Northwest is another one in the Stanford persistent pain self-management program and the chronic disease self-management program, which we in Tassie call the Get the Most Out of Life program. So we run those 6-week self-management programs through the whole of the state, and we have a whole heap of leaders that we train to run those programs, including volunteer leaders who are people that have been past participants, and so they have lived experience of pain or the chronic condition, and they make fantastic leaders. So that's a really rewarding part of my job. In late 2013, I helped start the Live Well, Live Long program that ran at Clarence Integrated Care Centre, and we were running that 3 times a year for 12 weeks each program, so 36 weeks a year was tied up there. And then when the new Glenorchy Health Centre opened, I was running the program there, and the idea was to showcase the services within the health centres as well. So I've just finished my last program this year at Clarence with that, and instead of running it 3 times a year as I was, which was tying up a lot of time, we decided that I could best use my time in some other places, and I'd like to do more of the Get Active programs because I was hearing from a lot of feedback that people are also keen for that physical activity component. So it was nice to do it. It doesn't mean that we won't be running more Live Well, Live Long, and as a result, it actually is all over the state now. It's just been up the Northwest, and they're doing it in Launceston. There's one about to start up at Oatlands. So we do one-on-one rather than that formalised, it's on 3 times a year. So that's been really good. And after COVID, I decided I would start running some strength and balance classes, and I was running 7 of those across the Clarence, Sorrel and Glenorchy health centres, and that was an opportunity for people to come back into an area where after COVID and connect people. So it was a really great thing, and it went great guns, and I had to put on lots of classes, but it was really good. So, and I was lucky that I trained I got my Cert 4 in fitness when I was working in rural primary health, because we found that it was so expensive to get someone to come up to Oatlands, I should say, and run a physical activity program, because it was the cost of travel, the cost of running the class, and then obviously travel again to go. So I was fortunate enough to do my Cert 4, which has been really, really helpful. It's not a requirement of the role, but it certainly helps out. And it's great when I'm running my Get Active programs because I can actually do a lot of the physical activities because I've got my Tai Chi for arthritis instructor training. I'm a Nordic walking instructor. I've got the Cert 4. So, yep, it's just handy.
Very well rounded. So you just gather more skills as you go along, which is super cool. And did you do some work with the Risdon prison as well?
Yes. So I look after, I think it's 9 Heart Foundation walking groups as well. So we got our first Heart Foundation walking group within the Ron Barwick Centre, which is great. And I'm just about to have our second one start there, which is also fantastic. And we also have a couple of those leaders that I talked about in the self-management program. The leaders are actually, I've got a couple of prisoners who were trained to deliver the program. So they were participants at one stage in the program. And now they co-facilitate those programs with staff within the prison system who are also trained as leaders. So that creates that really nice sustainability.
Amazing. And what is it that you love so much about this? You've obviously in so many communities, helping a lot of people in many different ways. What keeps you going?
People. I love people. I love seeing the change in people that may come to a program and they say at the beginning of the program, you can see they're really hesitant. They're wondering if I've come to the right spot. And in fact, my last program that I finished, my last Get Active at Glenorchy, 2 of the participants said, I thought I'd pop along for the first week and just check it out, but I really felt out of my comfort zone and thought, I'm not going to keep going, but I'll go because someone made me go, like a friend had recommended it. And they said, we loved it. We absolutely loved it, formed new friendships. And so I like seeing that moment, that light bulb moment when people connect with others.
Yeah. Oh, that's really special. Now, when we say Corina is one of our most popular trainers, like we're not joking, she is packed out and busy and in demand. So, for those who know nothing about the GAP program, can you give us a bit of an overview of what it is?
Okay, so the Get Active program, I tend to run mine for about 8 to 9 weeks, but they can be up to around 10. You can make them longer if you want to. And so the first, how I explain it to someone that asks me is that the first hour we cover off on a topic of information, and there are some ones in the manual that you can do. And we always cover nutrition, that's one of the requirements. But over the years, I've adapted the topics that I do a bit, and I ask the group on that first session, what would you like to know about? What are your burning desires and your questions within reason that you'd like to know? So they put some topics up on the board, and then my idea is to get out there and to find the information or perhaps find a guest speaker that might be able to come and talk about those topics. And then the second part of our session is some form of physical activity. And I like to try and showcase activities that people can get involved in once the Get Active program's finished, because I think that's really important to create that sustainability. So I have instructors that are running programs in the neighbourhood houses. I try and get those to come, or within our local community, so that, number one, it introduces people to that instructor, or 2 into that program, so they've got an idea. Like we've recently at Sorel had fitness in the park, and there were a lot of people that went, oh no, I'm not doing the fitness in the park because it's just going to be too strenuous and it's going to be a bit crazy. Whereas Ollie was fantastic and he was really engaging. It didn't matter what level of fitness you were in, because I actually went along and participated a couple of times because I thought it's really important when I was saying to people, you should go and join this program, that I'd actually have a bit of an idea of what they were getting into. So Ollie's going to come and do one of my sessions when I start my program in Sorel next week. He'll be one of our instructors, because council look like they'll be able to run that again when my program finishes. Council will then be looking at running fitness in the park at the same time my program was running, which I'm doing because fitness in the park was running on a Monday. And so my Get Active program will run on a Monday, so it'll be that continuation. So
Nice. And so it's a bit of a combination. You've obviously got your Cert 4, so you can teach some of the classes, but you really connect with local providers that are already there. What sort of other groups do you often work with?
Neighbourhood houses are the big one. So in one of my Glenorchy gaps, we went out to the Goodwood neighbourhood house and we went and did a site visit to the house, but we also then participated in their chair-based exercise class. And we also went to Buchan House to their community garden and walked around the garden and got involved in our bit of an activity was in the garden. And then back to the house to do a showcase of the house, and they put on a lovely lunch for us. So with my new Sorel group, I'm hoping there's a new Heart Foundation walking group that's going to start there on a Monday, and it's going to be at 11 o'clock, which will be the time of our physical activity. So on one of those days, I'd like us all to go up to the neighbourhood house and we'll walk with the participants there. And so they get to connect in with the local participants, but also do a little tour of the house and see where it is, what they're doing, because they do some wonderful programs there as well.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned like line dancing and golf and other activities like that as well. Is that right?
Yes, my Clarence group, I took all my participants off to the driving range at Cambridge Golf Park, so they were fantastic. And we played mini golf, and I had a few people raising their eyebrows going, ugh, I really don't like golf. I really don't. But they were the ones that were staying on 2 hours later to play their second game of mini golf or just really enjoy the fact that they had 100 golf balls potentially, if they wanted to absolutely hit as hard as they wanted to, because I said, surely there's something you want to imagine on that golf ball and give it a bit of a whack as you headed out to the green, and they loved it. So that was a lot of people who had never been there or had really put up a barrier. And my Glenorchy group, we tend to go to the mini golf out at Moona. And again, in that group, I had a lady that said, I hate golf, but I'm coming because it's part of the group and I'm going to come. And she had a ball. So
It's so good, isn't it? Sometimes we don't know what we actually do or don't like till we're actually doing it. So it's nice to give them such a good experience.
and definitely in doing it with a group of people. And I got some lovely photos, that when one of my participants got a hole in one and she's doing the photo, and it was such a beautiful moment. And when we had one of my groups in Oatlands, I had a lady in the 80s and we went 10-pin bowling, and she had never in her life 10-pin bowled, and she had an absolute ball. And in fact, the next school holiday, she rang the grandkids or the great grandkids and said, come on, we're heading off to 10-pin bowling. And I thought, Gran had lost the plot a bit because, she'd never mentioned anything about it, but she just loved it.
Oh, that's awesome. How much do you think people come along for the socialization aspect or the physical aspect? Is it more one than the other or pretty even?
I think it's pretty even. I think there's a lot of people that, number one, may not realise how lonely they actually are until they come along and participate in a group, or that they haven't really connected in with people. I've had a few people recently that have retired and just all of a sudden have lost that identity of going to work, doing things with work people, all that type of thing. So coming along to a group, and therefore with that hesitation about, I built really out of my space here and coming along. But the groups are just always so welcoming. I find people connect really well. Often the groups will exchange names and addresses at the end, and so they'll catch up. I've got a Glenorchy one that's sort of a bit of my Live Well, Live Long program, but 2 Get Active program participants. One of them has taken the lead. They send out a text message and say, hey, we're meeting for lunch here on this date. Hope you can come. And we recently had that with, the Clarence program is doing that as well. So I think it's that connection, and also for coming along for that physical activity. So some of them are coming along, but someone else in the group is involved in something. So they're connecting that way as well.
Yeah. And are most of your clientele generally an older cohort?
Normally, yes. I have run some young Get Active programs. So I ran a group with young mums, and that was some time back in Campania, and that was teaching with the fundamental movement ones where you taught the kids their children, those aspects. But most of it, I'm finding I tend to attract older adults to my group. So, yeah.
Yeah. And other instructors who do the gap, it's not necessarily for the old audience. They can really tailor it to any demographic. Is that right?
Definitely. So there's Get Active programs for you can target a different audience. I certainly don't target older adults, but I think because I've worked in that space where I ran the strength and balance classes and people look and think strength and balance, that's for someone older. I don't need that. But I did have a couple of younger ones that actually came to that and went, oh my gosh, that's so exhausting. I didn't realize how exhausting a chair-based class can actually be. So I think and because people that are retired are probably coming along a bit more, and that's who I focus. But I know that there's certainly some other great Get Active programs out there that attract younger people. There's one, I think, at Risdon Vale at the moment that they're running, which is a dam walking one around Risdon Brook Dam. And I'm pretty sure there's quite a lot of younger people that are going to that because it's a 7 a.m. in the morning one. So that's attracting people before work. So any age. Definitely any age.
It's great because it sounds like the instructors can just really work with their strengths.
Definitely, yep. And if I had, a group come up to me and say, "Would you run one for our young mums or something like our child health said, oh, could you run one for young mums?" I would certainly look at that, and I enjoy doing that. So you just adapt to whatever your group is.
Yeah. And how much does it cost for people to be involved in one of the programs?
So I just ask people if they can, and it's certainly not me standing at the door making sure you put your money in. I joke that if they don't, I say, oh well, I know where you live. I've got your address now. Come and egg your house later. But no, I don't. I just ask for a gold coin donation, and that helps with covering the cost of morning tea. Or I buy bits of equipment for my program, so my balls and the bands and all those type of things. So that money goes back straight into that program that I'm running at the time.
Yeah, awesome. How many programs have you actually run?
29.
29.
So yes, 29 programs. Or 28. So I'm about to run my 29th. I'm pretty sure it will be my 29th is the Sorel one. So my next year will be my 30th program. So that's a fair few over the years.
Absolutely. Do you have any really special moments or memories that pop to mind when you think about your time in the GAP program?
I think it's hard to just rule out or say one or two things. I just think it's that connection. I just think when you are getting those people, I've had a lady that I was dealing with at one stage, and she just said, "You changed my life." Coming along, I've made some connections, I've made some friends. I didn't realize how lonely I am until I came along here, and now everyone's just so supportive. And you hear that a lot in those programs, and that's a credit to all the participants who are coming and they're open to the fact that they're going to be mixing with a whole heap of people of different ages. And I think the other thing it's nice is to have some of the men that come into the program. So I've had in my last Clarence one, I had 3 men, and that was great. It's always hard to attract men to come along to groups. Most of them come because their wives drag them along, but that's okay. We take whatever we can get. And I think sometimes it's the men, like in my Glenorchy group, one of the men there was adamant he wasn't going to do line dancing and was hoping that I would schedule that activity when he was away that week. And I didn't, especially for him. And I made the big point. I said, "Oh, no, I didn't want you to miss out." And he was mortified. But he actually got the most involved. And I had the same when we had a class down at Sorel one time, and we had belly dancing group, and the belly dancer was fantastic. And the gentleman was the best belly dancer, not the best, but the most engaged. He had his little coin skirt on and he was shaking his tush, and it was just so funny. And I think that in itself really, it makes me smile because they're going out of their comfort zone, but they're feeling quite connected.
I love it. It sounds like you have such a special connection and rapport that you develop quite quickly with your participants. What do you think makes a really good instructor? Like if someone's considering, oh, maybe I could do something like this, what do you think are good qualities for someone who might be looking at it?
I think you need to love people. You need to be patient, and you need to definitely not be a judge of anyone on what someone's ability may be or what they think their capabilities are. A lot of people come in and they are feeling quite vulnerable in a space. And I think it's nice. And I think one of my opening lines is, my idea is to try and get you to engage in activities and realize you can do fun physical activity that doesn't involve going to a gym, because most people, there's nothing wrong with going to a gym, but often the people that go to a gym look like they've been going to a gym for a long time, and they look the part and they wear all the latest gear. So I certainly am not a person that likes to rock up at the gym because I already feel like a fish out of water. So I think just being flexible and just looking at everyone and their needs and realizing that some people might not be in the space you are yet, but by the end of the program, they're probably ready to be in that space, and just that patience.
Nice. And so Liz is our wonderful GAP program officer, and she helps facilitate the training. What's involved with becoming a GAP facilitator?
So you do some leader training. That's usually a day. I think it was. It was a while since I've done it, but I think it's a day training, and you get a manual, so everything's there. So all your lesson plans, anything that you want to do, all your forms. Liz is amazing. She's just a phone call or a message away, and she's certainly been a wonderful support to me with the programs. And yes, I go through the manual and I'll pick out the topics that I'm going to do. As I've said, over the years, I've actually tweaked my topics a bit, but you don't have to. You've got the whole program ready to go, and you can just pick your topics out of the ones that are in there. So it even gives you timings, it gives you questions, it gives you all the resources, and also on the website there's a heap of other resources as well. And then I'm more than happy to mentor someone as well. So if there was someone out there who's a new leader and then decides that, I'm running my first GAP, because it's pretty scary when you run your first GAP because you're not quite sure, but I think you've got to remember that the others know nothing and you know that little bit more because you've done your training. And I'd be more than happy, if there's someone out there that was considering doing it but was a bit nervous about doing their first program, as long as it was sort of down south and it worked, then I'm more than happy if they'd like me to come along for the first couple of times or just help them get started doing it, because I think that feels that little bit more comfortable.
Definitely. You're very generous, and you have such a great impact in the community. So thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your passion and the amazing work that you do.
I just think it's such a great program. I'm just so passionate about it. I'm enjoying the fact that next year, I'll do 3 this year, and I'll definitely do a minimum of 3 next year, because I just think it really does tick all those boxes. It gives that information session, but it gives you that physical activity and that connection, and it just builds some amazing lasting friendships. So I think it's just a fantastic program.
Oh, that's so good. Now, I always like to finish off with this question, but what makes you the most hopeful about the future for women and girls in sport or recreation?
Wow. I think I'm seeing that women and girls are getting involved in so many sports that would have been deemed to be only men-only sports. So it is really, really interesting that when you're watching TV now, that things like the football is broadcasted, whereas before it was just, women might play football, but it was never broadcasted. And now seeing that there's that equality in sports, I think is really amazing. And I think that would be one of the things, to see that it's progressing.
Thank you so much. If you'd like to learn more about the Get Active program, the GAP program, and the incredible work that Corina is doing, we'll put all the details down here in the show notes, and you can jump on our website or reach out to Liz as well, and they'll be able to help you and guide you. But again, thank you for all the amazing work you do in the community.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for your support, because I couldn't do it without, that. Also, I should have mentioned that Women's Sport and Rec have that small grants program. So that certainly helps to be able to get some of those instructors in, and that support's just invaluable.
If this episode resonated with you, if you believe in visibility, representation and strong pathways for women in sport, we invite you to join us. Women's Sport and Recreation Tasmania is a growing community of state sporting bodies, clubs, women and allies working together to make sport more inclusive, connected and supportive across our state. By becoming a WSRT member, you're helping amplify women's voices, stories and leadership both on the field and behind the scenes. Head to wsrt.org.au/membership to learn more about becoming a member, because when we can see women in sport, we can be them.